Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Field Target Hunter Division 101. Here, brought to you by Target Forge. We are going to hopefully build this cart out today. Not this one, but the one that we're building for the Airgun Geeks. We're going to tackle getting that finished up. We're going to rip the rest of that fabric off, and we're going to get our corner brackets in for our horizontal tubes. I am going to offer these files to print these from on the Prusa universe. I'll put a link in the description below where you can find those. If you have a 3D printer, you're welcome to print them for yourself. If you need them printed, reach out to me, contact me. Let's first make sure you've got a cart that they're compatible with, because I'm not really knowledgeable on all of the permutations of the Bob Gear carts. I don't know all their model permutations. I do know which ones these work with and how to identify them. So if you need some help, I'm here to help you. Not a problem. I also want to point out that not all ATV rifle holders are created equal. The products from Kolpin, the Rhino Grip XLR is the one that I wholeheartedly endorse. Both of these models I absolutely do not endorse. They are really way too narrow for airgun use. And the reason I say that is, you know, if you've got a modern Sportster powder burner, the forearm on that rifle is generally pretty slender. It's not a big honking front end on that gun, and it would probably fit great in these, and these would hold just fine. But for air guns, they don't cut the mustard. They are not wide enough, especially up here in the front. If you've got a Springer with a big wide forearm, or a bottle gun that's got a 480cc bottle up front, they're just not going to fit well. You're going to end up jamming them down in there, putting a lot of stress on them. I don't recommend them. Anyway, the Rhino Grip XL is absolutely amazing, and the one that I'm going to put the affiliate link for in the description below. Now, the affiliate link is really cool because you don't pay any more for the item, but I actually get a piece of that from Amazon. So if you buy it with the affiliate link, it helps us both out. So looking at some of the cosmetics up here, it's pretty obvious this thing has been really well loved or well used its whole life. This is pretty faded and beat up, and these are cheap enough. I think we'll just get the boys a new one of those, and we definitely want to get rid of this degraded foam wrap. They actually make a nice leather cover for this. I think we'll upgrade the boys to one of those, but for now, let's just get rid of this one. So next we're going to start removing some of this stuff that we just don't need anymore. Basically, all the baby stuff. Save these fasteners. Be glad you did. Now, I did find some use for that lower tray on my build, and this one's actually in better shape than mine. So I think we're gonna try and keep that and put it back into service. But we gotta undo those fasteners and get all that taken apart. Somebody put a little S-beaner on this side. Little improvised design there. And we'll have to cut these loops on here to get this cable free. This cable comes in quite handy for deploying this from its folded position. What we're going to do now is attach a piece of loop from a Velcro kit. It's 6 inches wide. It's a panel. It's what's going to secure our morale patches on this lower tray. And I'm just doing some spot stitching around here. I'm not stitching the whole thing because this is adhesive and it's going to hold on there pretty good, but I just want some stitches in place to keep it held tight while the adhesive sets up. Really, you don't need to take this step. I wanted to put put the morale patches on there for the boys. The Velcro comes rolled up really tight in a tight little roll, and I use these clips to hold it overnight in position so it kind of had a chance to relax. If you notice, the backing is still on the adhesive for most of it. I just have a little bit, that first 1.5 inches or so, glued in place where I'm stitching that spot. And as I move across the panel, I will remove more and more of the backing and let it adhere in place. That way I'm not committing to this all at once. Sewing, not exactly my thing, but you know, we got this on there. I think it looks pretty good. And here we're going to use a little heat on a modified screwdriver or poker. You could use an awl, anything that fits that hole. But we're going to use this to melt away that Velcro sheeting where it covers over the grommet holes to attach the straps that hang this down below the frame. So we're just going to heat this up good and hot and then poke it right through the holes. Next up, we're going to fashion some straps out of the recovered strapping from the baby retention harness in the stroller. We're just going to repurpose this and make some straps to hang that tray from the frame. How high or how low you want it to go is entirely up to you. I cut my length 2 inches longer than my finished length so that I can fold it over twice and get 3 thicknesses of materials. Then we're going to punch a nice clean hole with the arbor press and a hole punch. And then we're going to feed a grommet through that hole and use a grommet set tool. I think I got this whole grommet kit at Walmart. They were on clearance for like $1.83. It was ridiculously cheap. Next up, we're going to attach the straps to the holes that we cleaned out before with some 1032 stainless steel fasteners. Next up, we're just going to reuse those fasteners that we harvested when we stripped the cart down, and we're going to hang this lower tray right back where it was originally. There we go. Now we're going to put some morale patches on. There we go. This cart is now 35.7% faster. Next up, the key to this whole project is these 3D printed brackets that allow those horizontal bars. Here we're going to get them printed up, ready for the boys. With our brackets printed and all cleaned up, we're going to take some measurements with the brackets on the cart to determine the length of the EMT, the 3/4 inch conduit that goes between them. Let's transfer those measurements to the upper and lower conduit and get them cut up. These threaded inserts for the conduit from our range erector set come in super handy for creating a really easy threaded end for your conduit. I just set them on the ground and then put the tube over top of them and pound them in. It makes them come out nice and straight. But you want to put a screw in there, a bolt, and tap them the rest of the way in so that that second spring engages properly. It's really important. Okay folks, now it gets exciting. We're going to use these 1/4-20 machine screws with a Phillips head. You want a Phillips head so that you can get a screwdriver through that access hole on the bracket. We're going to use that thread to pull that conduit inside that socket and create a really, really strong joint that optimizes the 3D printed material and the erector set fastener that we're using on this conduit. It creates a really, really strong joint. Make sure when you tighten these up that they are clocked correctly, that they are both in the same plane so that when they snap on, they seat correctly on the tube. Snug them up pretty good and then snap them in place. They do take a little bit of effort to get them down. You might need a C-clamp or something, but there we are, we're done. Next up, we're going to put the lower horizontal on, and you want the brackets already snapped on the frame for this. It makes life so much easier. Just use the fasteners to draw the tube into the socket for a really strong joint. These aren't going anywhere. Next up, we're going to install our Rhino XLR rifle holders, and then we're going to throw some screws in to hold the clamps. And then the most important thing, these speed stickers. Oh, now it's starting to take shape. It's starting to look like a R.O.B for sure. One thing I didn't capture on video was the rear brake. I did do a little sprucing up of that. It was in pretty rough shape. It was bent and rusty, and I powder coated it and added a little color to it. Okay, everybody, this card is done. Let's just walk through some of the design features on this thing before we wrap it up. This card is unique. It's different from my other one. It has 4 of the Kolpin Rhino Grip XLR gun mounts on it, which again are vastly superior to everything else I've tried. They make a great choice for mounting a gun on anything you own. ATV, UTV, anything. Affiliate link down below. I'm also using an Armageddon bottle bag in this build, and the boys are actually going to use the yet to be released Saber Tactical bottle bag, which I believe the Saber Tactical unit, I saw the prototypes, and it is superior to everything out there for as far as bottle bags go. It has a fully functional doghouse on the top. What is a doghouse? A doghouse in my world, it refers to something that allows serviceability or access. And this Armageddon bag does have a little flap here, but honestly, when the bag is tilted like this, everything shifts down, and you can get to the valve, but you can't see the gauge. Getting the tubing out of there is kind of a nightmare. So I don't really like the access for me in my use case of the Armageddon bag. Don't get me wrong, the Armageddon bag is built exceptionally well. But they're also very proud of these bags too. Their price reflects the fact that they're made in the United States and they are high quality. I'm not knocking that at all. But what's interesting with these carts is getting the CG right, because if you don't, that front wheel gets awfully tippy and a little pressure and this thing wants to flip up, and you don't want that happen when you've got a few $1,000s worth of guns riding up here and all your stuff in this bag. Tippy's not good. Good, stable, good steering, that's really what you're after. And by getting a majority of the weight, like this heavy carbon fiber bottle, down low in the cart makes all the sense in the world. So what I've done is I've just created some attach points here for the D-rings for the shoulder carry. Obviously the bag is designed to be carried on the shoulder strap, so carrying it around in the cart shouldn't be any stress on the bag. But the reason the Saber Tactical and this bag are different is the D-ring on the Saber Tactical is down here. So these guys will probably move this strap up here down to this bar down here when they switch over to the Saber Tactical. And the Saber Tactical makes it really easy to work right here to control the valve and fill your gun. So it's easy to use, I hope. We've upgraded the carry bag on the top here for these guys. We also, you notice in our video, we cut off that foam wrap on here. And a little lesson on the foam for this. If you cut it off, it's a one-way trip. You'll never get new foam on here unless you split it and then wrap it with tape, because there's no way to slide anything on after it's built. Also, the way these handles, these release levers to fold it, the way they're attached, they're riveted, but they're riveted loose, so the sides of this don't actually touch the tube. And what I did was I reformed them because I really wanted to refinish them anyway because they were all rusty. And I wanted to continue the color key that I did for the brake. I rehabbed the brake on this because it was bent and rusty. So I powder coated that for the boys. I also put a little splash of that neon yellow up here. And I reformed these wings on the lever and replaced it with some nice stainless hardware. So when they go to do the fold operation, it's nice and easy to use. I also used really, really high quality bicycle bar tape up here. And I gotta say, I really love the way this feels. This is so grippy and so comfortable. I know what those bicycle guys, they know their stuff. They like quality, and this is no shortcut here. But I am really, really happy with the way this cart performs. This CG being nice and low and still allowing that access to that valve doghouse on the Sabre Tactical bag, I think is a really cool design element. Now, they won't get too much use out of this lower basket, although you can chuck a simple tripod stool or something under here and get it out of the way, no problem. But I sacrificed that cargo space down there again to get that CG low. So important when you're talking about putting guns in this position. Also, get these guns inboard next to each other. And if you only have one gun, consider just putting one of these in and put it right in the middle. And then you can use the lesser mounts for your shooting sticks or something else to put in there. But anyway, that's all I've got. I wanted to wrap up this build, and hopefully the Airgun geeks are just as happy with this as I was building it. Ready to load up? Well, folks, that does it for this episode of Field Target Hunter Division 101 and our build of the ultimate rifle cart. This one for the Airgun Geeks over at the Airgun Geeks podcast. Adam and Patrick are excited to get this cart, and I am excited to deliver it to them. If you really want to jump into the airgun world and you've got some windshield time or whatever, do tune into the Airgun Geeks podcast. And if you're looking for targets to shoot with your airgun, do head over to targetforge.net. We've got some really fun stuff, and we're building on this idea of the range Erector set, and I think it unlocks some serious power for you to create the target you want in your yard or your club. Thanks, everybody. Remember, be a light in the darkness. You never know who will benefit from your light.